Good morning, everybody. This is More Explorers, Please. My name is Jim, and with me is D&G Explorers, Derek and Gregory. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Or today,
We're
I'm
Basil.
Basil.
No, I said I'm Basil.
And he's Dawson.
Because I could do the voice better than you. You're Dawson.
We're doing voices today? Awesome.
No.
Um,
Jim and Company.
This is part of my series of videos where we talk about movies that I have not seen until now. A while ago, I did a top 15 list on my live stream of Disney movies that just everybody else in the world has seen, and I just haven't for one reason or another. And Gregory, it was your idea to do a series of shows where we watch them and talk about them. So today, we're talking about Oliver and Company and The Great Mouse Detective. We have a few people in the chat today. Rachel Loves Disney is today's champion, first in the chat. I see Rob Fuzz is here. Always a pleasure. Alex Brunner is also here. Thank you guys for being here on your Saturday. Guys, have you seen these movies before this week?
I haven't seen Oliver and Company before yesterday when we watched both of them.
I had seen him, but it's been a while. I mean, we saw The Great Mouse Detective maybe a month ago.
A couple months ago, yeah.
And then I saw Oliver and Company 5-10 years ago.
But I've seen them Great Mouse Detective before. I actually have it on VHS.
All right. And I first saw these movies last night. I know we had 2 weeks to watch these movies when we announced this show. And part of the reason is, and we just talked about this, if I had watched them 2 weeks ago, I would just have to rewatch them.
Mm-hmm.
So to watch them as close to this show where we talk about them benefits me, so I don't have to spend more time rewatching them. But I have some screen captures I'm going to share. I'll say right off the bat, I enjoyed both movies. I trust you guys did as well. You like them both, just generally?
Yeah, generally I liked them both.
Okay, yeah.
One more than the other.
Welcome in Pepper Tree Villa. And if you're just joining us, it's me, Jim, from More Sunshine Please. You're watching my channel. How would you not know that? And Derek and Gregory from D&G Explorers. So, where'd he go? Where did he go?
He's getting his magnifying glass out.
Oh, props.
Yes, because I'm Basil. Smile, everyone.
The only props I have are empty toilet paper rolls.
Oh, well, that could be a clue. That's a clue.
The fact you have that in the garage, empty toilet rolls, I'm a little questioning.
Yeah. There is a reason. I'm going to let your imaginations figure out what that reason might be.
I'd rather not. No.
Okay.
I'm ready to go. I got bulletproof coffee. I'm ready to go.
My God.
Bulletproof coffee. That sounded more like cake batter to me, but yeah.
Do you want him to explain really quick what is in that coffee?
I feel you need to now, yes.
This was brought from Wanda from Cruising for Food. She got me into this. She actually did a video on it, and then I added it a little bit different. But it's intended to give you extra energy so you don't have to eat. So this basically is my breakfast in a cup. So what I did is 16 ounces of coffee in a blender. I put a tablespoon of butter. I put a tablespoon of coconut oil. But I like to add peanut butter into it, like a little bit more than a tablespoon in it. And then I add cinnamon to it. And then I blend it for about 20 seconds. It gets all nice and frothy in there. Drink it up. And it's
breakfast smoothie.
Yep, supposed to supplement breakfast. So now I won't have to eat until like 1 o'clock. Well, it's Pacific time, not that.
Oh, gotcha. I'm going to say you're late. Shall we get into it?
Sure. You pick which movie you want to do first.
All right, let's see. I believe I chose the chronologically the first movie to come to be released. Do I have this right? Oh, wait, first, my list of movies. I should probably zoom in a little bit here. Here we go. This was my original list. Well, where did I go? There we go. This is my original list of the 15 movies I hadn't seen yet. Well, 14, and then a host of straight to video sequels I've never seen. But the ones in yellow are the ones that I have now seen. And today we're talking about Oliver and Company and The Great Mouse Detective. So let's start out talking about The Great Mouse Detective. And can I just say, I knew next to nothing about both of these movies. I really went into them in the dark. I didn't know who voiced any of the characters. I wasn't exactly sure when they were released. Welcome in, Mickey Sightings. So yeah, I just kind of last night dove in, just started watching them, and then during the course of the movie, I would look up stuff, and of course, when I'm watching it, I would notice a few things. So I've got some screen captures here that we can talk about, and
I'm sure you were pleasantly surprised with this movie.
I was. I went in thinking, well, this is a movie I haven't seen for a reason, and it's not. There's not a big presence of these movies in the Disney parks.
Mm-mm.
They're not really talked about. Yeah, they're not really talked about much. So
they're in the Disney parks in England.
What's that?
That one should be. He said they're in the Disney parks in England, but this one should actually be like a big thing at that park, and I'm surprised it's not.
Yes, considering it takes place in London entirely. And
obviously we know there's no parks.
Jolly old London.
And at night.
Well,
this movie takes place entirely at night. It was a very dark movie. I would hate to have seen this at the drive-in, where dark movies
never
are.
put that together. You're
yeah,
right.
I just realized it was at night, wasn't it?
So
they never showed any daytime scenes.
Before we talk about story or anything, well, let's just get into a bit of the story. It's a cast full of animals, of mice primarily, in London, and it starts out. We see a toy maker and his daughter, and the toy maker is abducted. That's how the movie begins. So his daughter, I don't remember her name.
Olivia,
thank you. Is out on the streets looking for Basil of Baker Street, who is the Great Mouse Detective, as we come to find out. And pretty early on in the movie is this scene where Dr. Dawson, is that his name?
Yep.
He's traveling from elsewhere, and when he gets off his carriage, he hears some rustling in an old boot, and inside he sees Olivia crying on this box of liver pills. And one thing, I had to pause it to see if I was missing an Easter egg. And it's not necessarily an Easter egg. I'm going to go full screen here so you can better see.
Derek realized this too. I was like, oh yeah.
Okay, this box of liver pills. I know it's going to be difficult for everybody to see, but it says Dr. Gaston's liver pills. Now, this is years before Disney made Beauty and the Beast. Mm-hmm. Welcome in Martin Memphis and Amy from AJC Magic TV. Thank you for being here. So on the box, it says Dr. Gaston's liver pills on this side. On this side, it says Dr. Gastoni's. There's an extra I at the end. And I thought right away, oh man, attention to detail is gone. If they can't even get this right, what am I in for? So I thought to myself, this is not a good start on the box right here. So they can't even get that straight, and it's inches away from each other. Luckily, the movie wasn't full of this. It's really the only instance of egregious oversight. But I digress. But that was it. So
you notice the movie started out very violently, kind of.
it did. Yeah, not only was it dark in aesthetically dark because it all takes place at night, but yeah, the villain, Dr. Radigan or Professor Radigan, right? Professor Radigan, just mean, power thirsty.
He was horrible.
Yeah,
I think they had the perfect person to play his voice.
Oh, and that's another thing. Like I said, I went into this not knowing who voiced any of the characters. But let me get to this before we delve into the voices. Let me get into this here. This was another thing that struck me right away, and I don't have an hour's worth of this to talk about in this movie. I just have this. Dr. Dawson sees Olivia crying, so he offers her his handkerchief and says, "Dry your eyes." She takes it, blows her nose in it, does not dry her eyes at all, but he doesn't notice that, so he puts it back in his pocket and says, "Now that's better." So not a great caretaker, doesn't even realize what she's doing with his handkerchief. Again, just maybe another little oversight, but not a big deal. I'm just being funny, trying to be funny here and silly, but now he's got a snotty handkerchief in his pocket. So, and I never understood handkerchiefs.
He should have said, "I said dry your eyes, don't blow your not blow your nose."
But he wasn't paying attention. So, but he's there. So, and he's helping. He's helping. Jeffrey Resendez, welcome.
I thought she had the cutest little voice. Whoever played the part it was really cute what they did.
And I'll be honest, with the exception of one character, I didn't recognize any of the voice actors' names. They finally find Basil of Baker Street, the great mouse detective, who is I don't remember even the actor's name who he was voiced by, but he's done other things. He's a British actor.
Derek has it up here.
I'm gonna look it up too because I don't remember.
It was Barry Ingham.
Who's famous.
Barry Ingham.
For so many things that I can't even mention. I don't know who he is. But
it's like I have no idea who that's.
Yeah, I don't know. I did look it up last night as I'm watching the movie. I was interested in. Let me see.
That he ever did.
They did say originally he was going to be remodeled. He was going to be animated by Bing Crosby. That was going to be the model for it. And then they changed
kind
it.
Of lanky like him. Anyway.
Yeah, they changed it to where's the animation portion of it? Where's his name? Animation. Here we go. They changed it to Leslie Howard. I believe Leslie Howard was known for being in Gone with the Wind. But we saw a picture of him, and he does have that same kind of that stature, the way he stands in that. So yeah, originally it was supposed to be animated after Bing Crosby.
How about that? I didn't know that.
Rachel,
he's still lanky like Bing Crosby.
Dilly Rob.
The Barry Ingram, who Ingham. Not Ingram.
Yep, Ingham.
Barry Ingham, I believe is his name. Passed away in 2015 at the age of 82.
Oh, wow.
Seems like he's a character actor, British character actor. Did a lot of TV here in the States. I'm looking through his IMDb page. I don't see anything else that stands out to me as something I would recognize him in. I don't recognize his face. His IMDb image on his page, it's a scene from a movie and he's very sweaty. It's an unfortunate. Okay. But so
and tell him to change it.
Welcome in, Mr. Fulton Mraz.
Did you realize
his 21st birthday is on July 20th? Well, happy
early birthday. Mine's coming up on the 27th. So we got July birthdays.
And July 27th is my wedding anniversary. This is quite a celebratory month.
Really? Wow.
And July 27th has.
So he was married on my birthday.
I don't have anything on July 27th. So.
Wow.
And Disneyland's 65th anniversary, of course, in July.
Yesterday, yeah.
How about
It
that?
was probably very quiet. Nobody in sight. Poor park.
That's right.
Did you realize that this movie was based off a book series?
No, I knew it was based on Sherlock Holmes, of course. I did not know that there was a book series about a great mouse detective.
Basil at Baker Street?
Yeah, I did not know that.
They did change the name of it because there was going to be more of a Sherlock Holmes-ish title.
But it totally was a Sherlock Holmes movie.
Because of the young, I don't know if you ever saw it, Young Sherlock Holmes. Because that wasn't successful, and that was either done the same year or the year before, they decided to change the name to The Great Mouse Detective.
Sherlock Holmes wasn't successful?
Sherlock Holmes was not.
Sherlock Holmes was that was a Steven Spielberg production.
I thought that was a great movie. I loved it.
I've never seen it.
I enjoyed it too.
What was that? Yeah.
My next thing I noticed in the movie is we're still in Basil's office, and I know most of the cast of the movie is mice. So this is probably not a hidden Mickey. It's just a mouse figure. But by the fireplace right here, that's a mouse head. And the whole fireplace was lined with them. So I thought, well, yeah, let's go ahead and call that a hidden Mickey. I don't know. But it's
searching for the stars, but okay.
I know, but like I said, the whole cast is mice. So it's a mouse world. What are you going to do? What else? What do I have in here? Okay, so Gregor, you had mentioned the cast of the movie, and we mentioned Barry Ingham. And then as this movie's going on, I thought to myself, well, Professor Ratigan, the villain, is, man, they're really trying to get him to sound like Vincent Price. It's a higher pitched voice, so it doesn't sound exactly like Vincent Price, but and it's a an English accent, which Vincent Price was American. So I looked it up who did the voice, and it's Vincent Price, of course.
Really? I thought he was British. I did not realize that.
I gotta look him up now.
Well, he just had a very distinct voice anyway.
A very posh sounding voice.
Yeah, it's just I don't even know.
I thought he was from the Midwest. Hang on.
To you, just the way he said
no,
words.
I mean you could be exactly right. I just said that's interesting. I always thought he was British.
He was very sarcastic in this movie, which really made the character even more better.
He was born in St. Louis.
Wow.
Born of Welsh ancestry. So no doubt his family, he had family members that spoke with that accent, and it no doubt influenced his speech.
Yeah, he had a very educated sounding, he just sounded educated, high to do type of a person.
An amazing voice.
Mm-hmm.
An amazing voice.
But he was really mean in this movie.
Yeah, and I had read that he loved doing the voice in a Disney movie. Like it was something he had always wanted to do, and he finally got to do it. This movie is from 1986.
Yeah, 86.
Yes, and he passed away in 93. So this was actually shortly after his famous stint on Michael Jackson's Thriller. How about that?
Oh wow, yeah, I liked him in that too. His voice was even deeper in that short. So
Derek, I know one of your favorite Disney character is Scrooge McDuck.
Yep.
And the toy maker here, and I Flabersham, whatever. Yeah. What is that?
Flaversham.
Yes. He sounded an awfully lot like Scrooge McDuck.
It was him.
It was the same voice
Alan Young.
Okay. Who I've heard of, actually. I know. Welcome in Disney Nerd Herders.
Nerds!
That made me jump.
What else we have? So yeah, Vincent Price, that was surprising. So I knew it, that kind of sounds like Vincent Price. Turns out it was Vincent Price. What do you know about that? Okay, So later on in the movie, as I'm watching it, they're in a toy store or something, and another Easter egg. Dumbo is
I was
a
gonna mention.
bubble spewing toy in the toy shop. So that was pretty cool to see.
You know what was interesting about that scene is and I noticed it right from the beginning, because they snuck into this place. Was it a toy shop or was it someone's house?
It was a toy shop.
It was, okay.
I
And
assumed it was.
every critter in there was scary looking and sinister looking. And then they have
that
and then they have
clown.
Dumbo in there. And I thought, okay, that's a huge contrast in style.
Well, in the scene, Olivia is lured in by the bubbles. So to see a friendly Dumbo toy there, and then we have a jump scare right after because the bat is there, right? Is that the same scene where
that turned
the bat kind of jumps out at the camera, and that was actually a bit startling. So yeah, Dumbo is there as a false sense of security, and then there's the bat. I can't remember the bat's name. Hang on, I'll get it. Fidget.
Yeah. Oh yes.
Yeah.
I like the way Vincent Price always said his name. Fidget.
Awesome voice. What else we have here? Another Easter egg. Did you notice this one?
I'll wait to see if you say it, but I think I put it in my notes, but go ahead.
Well, I've got his image right here. Let me get to it. Let me go full screen here for a moment. This is one of Radigan's henchmen or crew or whatever. We believe this is Bill, the lizard.
Yep.
From Alice in Wonderland.
That's what I was saying. That was in my notes. And I also thought, I said, out of all the mice, there's a lizard in the middle of them. But then actually it looks like there's a frog there too, or another lizard. But maybe it's a frog on the right by the other two mice. I think that's a frog.
In this picture?
Yeah.
Yeah, right here.
The one closest to Radigan.
With the two mice, and then there's a frog, or unless it's a lizard.
No, that's the guy. That's the lizard that looks. This is a screen capture from Alice in Wonderland.
The one with the ladder, that's Bill. But then,
right.
But then there's another one to my right with the two mice in the same picture, and that looks either like a lizard or a frog. I thought there was only one lizard in the whole movie, but I guess there were two.
No,
it's a frog.
No, this is him. This is Bill. This is Bill in The Great Mouse Detective.
Yes.
Are we talking about the same thing?
He was just saying he thought there was
two.
He thought there was three mice standing next to each other, and then there's that one in the middle of the picture. But he didn't realize there's actually two frogs or whatever in there.
So there's a frog and there's a lizard, and Bill's the lizard. It's okay, Jim.
I'm so lost. Just to be clear, there's a lizard here.
Yes, that's what he's talking about.
Two mice.
No, there's no frog there.
He looks like a frog.
So the frog you speak of, and the guy that looks like Bill the lizard, this is the same character we're talking about.
Yes.
No, Bill the lizard is the one here with the ladder.
I know that. That's from Alice in Wonderland. I put that in there to compare.
Oh my God! I didn't even notice that. Sorry. Okay.
No, we got it now. We got it. I should have put an edge or a shadow around it to make it more disturbing.
For some reason, I thought that was.
I'm going to get that off the screen really quick.
For some reason.
Greg,
my copy hasn't kicked in yet. Sorry.
Some of my bulletproof copy?
No, that was.
I'm sorry.
Is he messing with me? I don't know what's going on. I can't follow this conversation.
I'm like, there's two lizards in the scene.
Yeah. So that was cool to see, actually. And then later on in the movie, there's a tavern scene where there's a stage, and I guess the world's smallest octopus is performing because he's the same size as all the mice. And he's juggling there. That struck me as well. Very talented octopus, though. Or is it a squid? I don't know.
I think it's an octopus.
Yeah, it's a something.
I don't know. It doesn't much matter.
Or the bulbous head.
That would be the head. Although they did make it look like the nose, even though it should be the head.
Yeah, you're right. This kind of strikes me as a Jimmy Durante looking
And the eyes right there.
character. You know, a vaudevillian character of sorts. We haven't really been talking about the story much, but I guess just in a nutshell, Basil and Dr. Dawson and Olivia are looking for Olivia's father. They know that Professor Radigan has him. So the movie is about them and their search for Flabbersham. And I guess I would have liked a little bit more of Basil, deducting and figuring out things the way Sherlock Holmes would. I mean, certainly there was some of that in there, but I love that. I love that about the Sherlock Holmes character, and I guess I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of that, but it's in there. I don't know.
He seemed to do it when he met the people for the first time.
Yeah, I thought he did it a lot. Like he could find out where they came from just by looking at the stitching of his arm on his shirt.
Yeah, he did that once. He did it once. He did it at the very end of the movie as well.
Yeah.
But I wanted to see him be more. I wanted to see him be brilliant more often, I guess.
Yes, I agree.
Okay.
And then when he did all those chemicals and the stuff was going through the tubes and stuff, just to get one little last drop, I said all that for that, just to find out that it was sodium, whatever, dioxide or whatever, salt water.
Sodium chloride, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just like, what?
Yeah, so they certainly show him being brilliant and smart, but I just love that detective work that Sherlock Holmes does, and the little bit we got to see in this movie that of Basil doing that was quite fun.
He's also very fast at math. I noticed when they were in that trap and everything, and they were going to set it off early, and the ball was going down, and he's like doing trajectories and everything. I'm like, what the heck?
Yes, I loved that. I love that scene. I did read that. I think I have this right. That this is the first time Disney mixed computer animation with traditional animation, and it was during this scene in the clock tower, the scene with all the gears and stuff. So, and watching that, it certainly reminded me of the ballroom scene in Beauty and the Beast, where they did the same thing. They mixed traditional and computer animation.
So maybe this was the first movie that they tried that on, and then
I think so.
Although, did they do it in the Black Cauldron too?
I don't know.
100% sure.
I'm gonna call up the where I read that, the did you know section of the IMDb page from this. Let's see. Go ahead.
Sorry, one of my notes I put, apparently Radigan had a record deal at one point because his voice was on the record singing the song that was playing when they were stuck in the trap.
You're right. I thought that was him. I thought that sounds like Radigan singing that on that record.
Yep.
Let's see. Where did I see? I don't want to spend too much time just looking for this.
But here, this is for Oliver and Company for the film.
Wait, we're not doing Oliver and Company.
I know, but this will allude to this information. For the film, Disney invested $15 million into a long-term computer system called Computer Animated Production System, otherwise known as CAPS. Unlike the Black Cauldron and the Great Mouse Detective, which used computer imagery for special sequences. 11 minutes of Oliver and Company. Okay, so it goes into something different. So it looks like they might have used a little bit in the Black Cauldron.
Oh, okay.
But they were the last. I mean, those were the three movies right in a row. But
okay, I found what I had read about it. It says the clock tower scene is the first major use of computer animation, the clock's gears, in a feature-length animated film. The same scene was also the first time traditionally animated characters were put inside a computer-generated background. So I guess that's the distinction. Oh, well, big deal. So, yeah, but you can tell, when knowing that these gears are computer generated. It's just so much smoother.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was fun to see.
Disney Nerdverse is in the house.
They're working on their base stand.
Nerds! Okay.
What the?
Now, one thing that struck me in watching this movie is, man, Disney has a lot of mice in their movies. A lot of, and what's interesting, which is further interesting, is that Mickey isn't the main character. They've got this classic, very popular Mickey Mouse character that they could put in here. And I know that would make it an entirely different movie. But there's so many movies where they come up with other mice to be the leads in their stories. Ratatouille, this one, and others. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. But this particular screen capture I have here is of, spoiler alert, Ratigan falling off the clock tower to what we believe is his death.
Oh, I'm sure.
And that is quite a popular ending for a great number of Disney villains.
Mm-hmm.
Gaston, Maleficent, or Ratigan, and then there's Mufasa, and Scar falls, although he doesn't. The fall isn't what kills him, but I just thought that was interesting, and I thought, well, why is that? And I can only assume that it's a way to vanquish the villain in a way that doesn't make the hero terribly violent. Like, we're not sticking a sword into him, we're not shooting him with a gun, we're not any number of ways that you can off a villain. So to have the villain fall to their demise is a more gentle way to vanquish.
I think it's more kid friendly, like the witch in Snow White, where the lightning strikes and the mountain falls, and she and she falls off the cliff, and
that's the one, not Maleficent.
Kids could just imagine, she fell off the cliff, she's gone, so they got rid of the villain.
Yeah, and it's easy to put two and two together. Oh, they fell. We don't see them hit, so, but what happened to them. So, but I thought that was interesting. Anything else concerning this movie? Anything you wanted to bring up here?
Well, I liked how Basil, I told Derek, I said he was pedaling for his life, literally, because he was pedaling to make the little propeller thing come up. And then I joked and I said, and then the propeller hits the balloon and it pops and they all fall. But I was just joking. But I did say there was child suffocation in the movie with Olivia being put into a bottle and the cork is closed, because he said, I said she wouldn't even fit through there. And then Derek said, yeah, she would suffocate too. And I said, that's true. And then when they showed her, they were like calling after her. And I thought it was her. I forgot when it turned around, it was the bat. But I thought she would have been suffocated by now. And then I said, how much air is in the balloon when they're trying to get Ratigan? They released one balloon and it took them to then it would be miles in the air, probably all around London and everything. And I'm like, what?
I thought that too. And it took a while for that air to escape, which, in reality would take about 1 second.
I'm just like, I'll just go with it.
Yeah. We have fun with these movies and mentioning things like the balloon, but I found this movie to be enjoyable, quite enjoyable.
It was one of my favorites growing up.
Wow. On a scale of 1 to 10, what do you guys give The Great Mouse Detective?
I would probably say an 8. That's a high number for a favorite.
I'd probably say a 7.
I was thinking 7 myself. I enjoyed it. I didn't grow up with it, so I don't have the sentimental or.
I remember seeing this at the theater with my mom. We went and saw it when it came out.
Oh.
I only saw it on VHS when I was growing up. I know I mentioned before, but Toby the dog I thought was one of the cutest dogs that Disney ever drew. He was one of my favorite smaller characters because he wouldn't listen to anybody except Olivia when they tried to get him to sit, and then Olivia said, "Toby, sit," and he like just plopped his butt down and was like smiling and slobbering and everything after her. I was like, see, he likes her.
Yeah, a very adorable character. I agree with you.
At the end, yeah.
A few things about this movie. Well, go ahead, Jim. You got something up on the screen?
Just Pepper Tree Villa says, I remember reading about the computer animation in that scene. The animators would program the CAD machine at the end of the day and walk away. The next day, they would get back to many drawings done. How about that?
Derek made a comment about that scene that you have up there.
Peter Pan's window and the rooftops of Mary Poppins is what I said.
We could go with that.
Which I have no idea if that's even true. That looks like Peter Pan's window or Wendy's window. The kids.
Oh. I didn't read about that.
Thank you.
But
some interesting information about the animation. We talked about how Bing Crosby was the first model of was Basil, but Ratigan was designed originally as a thin, weaselly, and rat-like. Then, during one story meeting, Glenn Keane decided to base the stature of Ratigan on then Disney CEO Ron Miller, who was a 6 foot six. Say that twice.
6 foot
former.
six, 6 foot
he was a
six.
former football player for the Rams, but also he was married to Diane Disney, Diane Miller. But they changed the body on that, so they really made him. I didn't know Ron Miller was that big of a guy, but I thought that was interesting. Also, this was a interesting period because this was done when both Michael Eisner and Jeffrey Katzenberg took over. So this was one of the first features. They actually slashed the not the payroll, but the budget went from 24 million down to $10 million. So they really slashed this. But the benefit of this movie is they then committed to be doing a animated feature that it was viable because this movie was successful. It made 38 million, and it wasn't as successful as American Tail, which was the Don Bluth production, which was a former Disney animator.
I couldn't see it being better than that.
That was one of the first Disney movies that was another company did more. They were about 4 months apart. The Great Mouse Detective was earlier in the year, and then in November they released American Tail. So American Tail earned about 22 million more than that. But even that, saying that, this was a very, it was not productive, but it was a success, financial success. So from this movie, there was a recommitment to doing Disney movies, and they look at this movie as being the beginning of the Renaissance period of when all the Disney movies started to come in. So
because Little Mermaid came out in 1989, which wasn't too far after this and Oliver and Company.
Yes,
but American Tail was way more emotional than this movie. So I mean, and I thought it was way better.
But
than
the
this
reviews on the Great Mouse Detective has better reviews than American Tail did. American Tail had mixed reviews.
Well, I have never seen an American Tail either.
Oh, gosh. Okay, you got to watch that.
We'll see. I just read an interesting. One of the first things I mentioned about the movie was the Gaston's liver pills box that Olivia is sitting on. And it says here, the box that Olivia sits down on to cry is Gaston's liver pills, a reference to the father of one of the artists. So, I didn't think it was a reference to Beauty and the Beast because that's years off.
Yeah.
But there is a reason it's called Gaston's liver pills.
Hey, Mouse Talk.
Welcome in, Walt. Thank you for being here. All right, shall we move on to our next movie? Okay. We've got Oliver and Company. Again, hadn't seen it until last night.
Mouse talks. He's never seen it either.
And I knew next to nothing about it other than it's a kind of a take on Oliver Twist. It's also I knew nothing of the cast. This has a more popular cast to it. I've heard of more of these people. Oh, one thing. I'm sorry. Let's go back to The Great Mouse Detective. Melissa Manchester is the voice of the singing mouse in the tavern. And I
that was go ahead.
I can't remember Melissa Manchester's claim to fame, like her big song.
I can't remember. I remember her though.
All right. Well,
you're gonna make me look it up.
That was kind of a sexual scene for children's.
It's interesting that you mentioned that. I've got to go back now. It's interesting that you mentioned that because there was a bit of discussion between Disney and the motion picture, the ratings board, where that was a little risque, and their argument was, "Listen, these are all mice. You know, this isn't real. Kids, aren't going to be traumatized by this." And ultimately, it was agreed upon that this is still it's not worthy of a PG rating. It's still rated G. So
all the guy mice though were like fighting each other, trying to get up on the stage and stuff. I'm like, whoa, like trying to go after her. So I think it just added to that whole scene was just kind of funny. But
did Melissa Manchester sing a Bond song?
Don't Cry Out Loud. Could that have been it?
That's it. Thank you.
Don't Cry Out Loud. That's a Bond song?
No, it's not. But it
I thought that was a musical song or something.
I'm not sure where it came from.
Yeah. I thought
I'm playing it in my head now. Thanks. It's stuck in my head.
It's that same era of Nobody Does It Better, and I think I'm confusing my songs, but yeah, Don't Cry Out Loud. Okay, not about.
Speaking of the music part of it, I was telling Greg there was one scene with Radigan, and it reminded me of the rhythm of that reminded me of Prince Ali from Aladdin.
Oh,
and to me, they started you could see like where they were going to go with having music play an important part of the movies. So it was, you could see the foundation of them, what they were working on when they did like The Little Mermaid. Even in Oliver and Company, it was because of the music groups that were in there. You could tell how music was playing more of an important role in the Disney songs.
You also mentioned that you said how sad they fed the mouse to the cat. That cat was fat. I mean, it was a huge cat. And then the poor thing at the end, it's horrible, but it's funny because it's being chased by Toby. And then she like puts her butt up in the air like, I showed you. And she jumps into the city pound, I think. No,
it was the Royal Guard
dogs. Or the Royal Guard dogs. And all you see is her ribbon flying up in the air. I'm like, did they just like rip her to shreds? Like, that's so horrible.
No, that was funny. I like that. But here's what I don't get. How is that cat not devouring Professor Radigan? Like, he's the most meaty of the rodents, and seems like that would be a fantastic meal. Well played, Walt. Let's get into Oliver and Company. The thing that struck me starting to watch Oliver and Company. What do I have up here first? Okay, Billy Joel is the voice of Dodger. I had no idea.
Yeah, it's very young Billy Joel.
I had read that he provided a song or two. So did Huey Lewis.
He did Worry, that one song.
That's right. And I'm going to mention some things we saw during that sequence in the movie. So that was a surprise to me. I had no idea, never heard in my life that Billy Joel voiced a Disney character. But here we are. One thing that jumped out to me right away, let me go full screen here, is the prominence of product placement in this movie. And right from the get-go, in the title card here, we see, hang on. Oh, we've got Tab, USA Today, Kodak, Sony, Coca-Cola, National Rent-A-Car, I think that's what that is.
Yeah.
Milkbone, Yamaha. That's just here. Now you might argue that well, this is just a way to make the scene or the movie more authentic, because this takes place entirely in New York City. This is Times Square. But unless Disney is getting paid for this free publicity, Disney's not going to do it. And I haven't read for certain that that product placement is a great part of this movie, but I've got to believe it is, because we see some of these brands come up over and over again in this film. Here's another one. Let me go in here. That's McDonald's up top there. Kodak again. We've got Ryder truck rentals there. And that's not the only time we see Ryder. Coca-Cola again. Gannett, that's the company that owns USA Today. They don't have to put that in there. It would be easy to not put Gannett right there. But that is a concerted effort to do that, because Gannett's paying Disney to have their name put in there. Coca-Cola again. Dr. Scholl's is in there. There's Ryder truck rental again. So this hit me over the head. Like, I'm being pelted with advertisement after advertisement here. But it's understandable that this is the way movie studios and TV studios, this is a revenue source for them. So they charge these companies to have their products placed in here. And it's a way to make money. It's a way to increase the budget of these films. And I just thought it was, there's Sony again. Do I have another one here? Here's one. I'll leave it here. Diet Coke. Do you see what else is in this frame?
Yeah, it's Pongo.
It's Pongo. Yes.
Like him anyway.
And there, so not only is there a lot of advertising in this movie, there are a lot of Disney Easter eggs and cameos in this film.
Jock is in there from Lady and the Tramp.
I'm going to show you that, as a matter of fact. So there's Pongo that I read about. This is what you're talking about, Greg.
Yeah.
Who did you say?
Well, there's Jock, and then that's the other singing dog from Lady and the Tramp. I forgot her name. And then that's like Trusty.
Jock, Trusty, and Peg. All three of them are here from Lady and the Tramp. So it's kind of quick. They're only on screen for maybe 2 seconds, but that's them. There's no doubt about it. So that's fun. I love watching these movies and seeing these Easter eggs and cameos like that. What else do I have here? Oh, I read about this one. I didn't immediately see it, but I went back. And when Oliver wakes up on the tire of the truck in the morning, and he's he's got to jump off of it before he's run over. One of the people we seeing walk by, this was in IMDb. This is Roger from 101 Dalmatians. So this is a screen capture of Roger in 101 Dalmatians. And this is what they're telling us is Roger in Oliver and Company. And
hair color.
The hair color is a bit different. So are the clothes, but he's got the vest. His sleeves are rolled up. And I would argue, that's got to be Roger.
Cruella de Vil should have been around there somewhere. That would have been funny to find her in that movie.
Yes. I would imagine because 101 Dalmatians is a dog movie, Oliver and Company for the most part is a dog movie. Yeah, it's fun to recognize something like that. I did not recognize him in the movie. I had to go back and find him after I read about this.
So this movie is basically a takeoff of Oliver Twist, right?
Yes.
I would.
So
say.
it is. Yes. Did we not mention that? Yes. Which I'll be honest. I think I've seen that story, that movie, but years ago. I don't really remember much of the Oliver Twist story or the musical Oliver.
And The Great Mouse Detective is a takeoff of Sherlock Holmes. So these are two good movies that we picked for this week because they're a takeoff of other stories.
Yes. Michael Riley, welcome. Thank you for being here.
I have some comments on Wikipedia about product placement. So it says Oliver and Company was the first Disney animated film to include real-world advertised products. More than 30 company logos and brand names were shown in the film. You talked about the ones. However, the filmmakers commented on ABC's The Magic World of Disney that this was done for realism, was not paid product placement, and that it would not be New York City without advertising.
How about that?
Katzenberg said urged the marketing campaign to focus on the classic Dickens novel and pop score.
Well, then, this was a lost opportunity for Disney.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Now, this took place 1988. So really, before product placement took a stranglehold on Hollywood and movie making, this product placement is now a common way for movie studios to earn revenue, to earn money. So they charge McDonald's some money to feature a McDonald's billboard in here. So this was free advertisement for all these companies. How about that? Thank you, Derek, for finding that. I thought for sure, man, this is the first instance of Disney capitalizing on product placement. But turns out, no, they just did it for realism.
And the Twin Towers were in there, and I thought that was awesome to see them drawn in there. I think they weren't in there in American Tail because that was way before. Yeah, because they were building the Statue of Liberty in that movie, so that was before their time. Yeah,
came over across the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, this is contemporary New York City. So in 1988, this would have taken place. The World Trade Center certainly would have been there. I did read a bit about this. I don't have a screen capture. I don't have a visual of the Twin Towers with me. But I did read that after 9/11, lots of studios were removing images of the Twin Towers from their films because they didn't want to upset the audience. Now, Disney did not do that because I think I read that the home video, the VHS of this came out in '96, so it had been out there for a few years, and there was, and this really isn't one of the more popular Disney films, but this is. They just thought, you know what, it's out there already. Let's just leave it in. And as it turned out, people were appreciative that Disney left in the images of the Twin Towers. It's because it was a true, true to life, snapshot of New York City at that time. So it was, I thought it was neat to see the images of the World Trade Center in this movie.
I mean, my opinion, they shouldn't remove them because it's almost like they want to forget, and that would be more of a slap in the face to people, I think, than it would to not remove them. So they should leave them in all the movies that they were in before. I mean, those were iconic, places in New York.
Yes. Caitlin, welcome in. I remember 9/11, around that time. I think it was Sony. Sony was about to release the first of the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies. And I remember seeing in a trailer for the movie. It's not in the movie itself, but in the trailer, his Spider-Man captures a helicopter in a web that he wove or weaved between the two towers. Do you ever remember seeing that?
No.
Well, it happened, and then 9/11 happened, and they never used that in any of their trailers or in the movie, certainly. But that's just another example of a movie studio not using the Twin Towers.
I like whenever I see it in movies, I like to see it.
Yeah.
And now that we sailed out of New York on the NCL Escape, the Norwegian cruise,
I wish I could have seen it when they were there.
Yeah, they showed a kind of like an aerial view of it where the Twin Towers were located, and we thought we would have sailed right by it. So it was kind of I don't know. I like to be reminded of it.
The first time I ever went to New York was the summer of 2001. First time I had ever been there, and we went there to because friends of ours were getting married, so we went there for like a rehearsal, and to they were getting married in New York City, and I didn't make it a point to go see the World Trade Center. That wasn't something we had done. So I was there in the summer, and then the wedding was scheduled to be in January of 2002. So the next time we went back was, of course, after 9/11. And I have no memory of or I just didn't pay attention to the World Trade Center. This has nothing to do with Oliver and Company, but yeah. So I went, the first time I went was right before 9/11, and the second time I went was right after.
But it was cool that they had them in the movie, I thought. So,
absolutely.
They drew them very well, too.
Well, they said that all this, like the cityscapes was done with computer.
Oh, wow.
How about that? Yeah, it was very cool to see. What do I have next? This was just a scene early on in the movie where Oliver's wandering the streets and comes upon this cute little child who wants to play with the feral New York City cat. And the mom says, "No, we'll play with it later. We got to go right now." "No, you don't play with the feral cat in the streets later. No, avoid it. You have no idea where that cat's been."
Oh my gosh. I mean, I thought they drew Oliver very cute looking. And I told Derek at the beginning of the movie, oh my gosh, it starts out with animal abuse because they adopt all these cats and then they just leave him in a box with a rainstorm going on. And I just thought, how wrong is that? Mm-hmm. And then throughout the movie, the other dogs were like smacking the other dogs or pushing them and stuff. I'm like, what is wrong with this animal abuse throughout the movie?
It's realism. It's gritty New York.
No.
It's yeah, I guess. I don't know. Some of the voices, Joey Lawrence is the voice of Oliver.
A very young Joey Lawrence, because it didn't even sound like him.
No, I didn't recognize it.
He didn't even do his famous "whoa."
Well, that was before Blossom,
which Mike Myers made famous.
Could you imagine that?
Cheech Marin. We mentioned Billy Joel being the voice of Dodger. Cheech Marin was the voice of Tito. You cannot mistake that voice.
He was hilarious. He was like probably one of the best parts of the movie. He was a comic relief, and some of the things he came out with was hilarious. So I think it worked.
Richard Mulligan was the voice of Einstein, one of the other dogs in the crew. Richard Mulligan, you might know from Empty Nest, among other things. I am most fond of him for being a character in the movie Scavenger Hunt. I don't know if anybody had ever seen that.
Never heard of it.
It's a very fun movie, late 70s. It's a comedy. Vincent Price is in it. But Richard Mulligan plays this really dumb guy, but very endearing. Yeah, Scavenger Hunt. I wouldn't mind seeing that again because it's been maybe 30 years since I've seen it.
Bette Midler was in this too.
Indeed.
She was the poodle.
That's right. Roscoe Lee Brown was Francis. Shirley Ralph was Rita, the other dogs in the crew.
Soap. What's Soap?
That's the name of the show. It was called Soap. That's what.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Robert Loggia was the voice of the heavy Sykes, the I guess a gangster in there. What
John
else?
DeLuise was in it too.
Oh, that's right. He played. He was the voice of Fagin. It was on his bucket list. I read to voice a Disney character, which he finally got to do. But he was also in maybe more than one of the Don Bluth animated features as well.
He was in All Dogs Go to Heaven, All Dogs Go to Heaven 2, and I think some other. He did a lot of Don Bluth stuff.
So a much more recognizable cast in this movie for me. So,
and that's one of the things they wanted to do. They wanted the voices to be familiar, so they focused on the cast on that.
Well, to me, the only one that was familiar was Dom DeLuise and Bette Midler. Like, I knew their voices growing up, but I wouldn't have known Billy Joel's voice.
No, and I didn't before I looked it up. Who's doing this voice? I didn't recognize it. All right, so here's Bette Midler's character.
Yeah.
What was her name?
She's blue right now. That doesn't look good.
Georgette. Georgette is the character's name. I'm going to zoom in so you can see an Easter egg. You ready? Okay. Among the pictures of all her admirers,
I don't know who that is.
can you tell who that is back there?
Mm-mm.
Let me try to zoom in.
Looks like Radigan.
It is Radigan. That's exactly who it is.
And there's looks like Scooby-Doo over there too.
It does look like Scooby-Doo. And I can't confirm that. I can confirm Radigan. Whoop, wrong way. Sorry. Let me zoom in. Yeah, that's Radigan, a giant mouse among all her admirers. A mouse that's no doubt lived 100 years earlier. Hey, everybody.
But yeah.
All right, let me zoom out. Okay. But I thought I love seeing stuff like that. Whoops.
I would say that is Scooby-Doo.
The far right one.
Yes, that does look like him, actually.
Yeah, it certainly does. You're
we'll
right.
just say it's him.
Let's say it is him. Okay.
Is Scrappy-Doo in there somewhere?
No. Well, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, so it was really cool to read that was in there because I didn't immediately see it. I read about it and then went back and found it to see an Easter egg from the other movie I had just watched. So that was very cool. I love seeing stuff like that. Another Easter egg, of course, is the Mickey watch that Fagin wears.
I didn't see that part, but Derek said it was there, so I put it on my notes.
The only two of these watches have the same time, so not synchronized, but Fagin is complaining that somebody's not on time, and who knows if he's on time or whatever.
The Chihuahua sang the Snow White Hi-Ho song at one point too, just out of nowhere.
Yes, you're right. You're absolutely right. I don't know if I have much more from this movie in terms of screen captures. I don't think I do. This might be the last one. Yeah, that was the last one I had. But I did enjoy this movie more than I thought I would. This is the one I was less interested in watching. I thought, Great Mouse Detective, yeah, I have a bit of interest in that. But Oliver and Company being based on Oliver Twist, that didn't sell me on it, I guess, which is why I hadn't seen it until last night. But also in this movie, if you're not familiar, Oliver is taken in by a very cute little girl character that takes her in. The dog crew led by Dodger, they go to rescue her. She doesn't want to be rescued. Long story short, Oliver is
she doesn't want to be rescued.
Oliver ends up with Jenny, I think is the little girl's name. Fagin owes a lot of money to Sykes. That ends up all right because Sykes
yes,
hit that train.
Child endangerment also was in that movie. Kidnapping was also in that movie.
Yes. Yeah. So it went from, you're a loan shark and you just want your money from the homeless guy to, I'm going to take this up a notch and I'm going to earn some money through ransom. That was quite a leap, but it's just he was a bad guy. So
he wasn't in it that much. I mean, I don't even consider him a major villain. And then like towards the end, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it, I mean, this is the first time I saw it.
Mm-hmm.
They somehow are all on that electric scooter shopping cart looking thing, and it jumps up onto the railing of the bridge. So they go up the bridge, and I'm like, how are they all going up this bridge? But yet the villain gets smacked by the train and the car blows up and everything. And then they come back down backwards, all nice and safe. And I'm like, just go with the movie.
There were a few things that were animated via computer, and that shopping cart contraption was one of them I had read. Rob Fuzz, welcome back in. What else did I read about? There was a lot of stuff here on the IMDb page about actors considered for voice parts. One of them was Patrick Stewart, who was considered to voice the bulldog, the acting bulldog.
I thought you were going to say
he was busy acting in Star Trek: The Next Generation, of course.
I could see Patrick Swayze playing Dodger's voice, actually.
Sure.
Welcome, Jonathan Chong, if you hadn't said it already. I don't know if you did.
Oh, welcome in. Yes, thank you. Thank you.
This movie was actually the one that I was looking forward to watching, and I didn't know it was based off of Oliver Twist. And then when Derek said it, I'm like, okay, Oliver Twist, Oliver and Company.
Well, he made a comment. He goes, this story's all over the place. And I said, it's like Oliver Twist. I said they went out to steal stuff from people.
Yeah.
So that's what they were doing in the middle of the movie.
It almost didn't really have a purpose. Like they were just walking around singing and stuff, and it kind of didn't pick up for me until towards the middle of the movie. It's only an hour and 16-minute movie, but
I appreciated how short both movies were, by the way. It made it easier to watch them last night.
I was really interested in this movie. I never saw it, even when it came out in the theater. I remember the commercials and the toys and everything at McDonald's and stuff, but I just never watched it. And then now watching it, I don't dislike it. It's not one of my favorites. I'm kind of mixed feelings with this movie.
It says here Steve Martin and Burt Reynolds were both considered for the role of Dodger. But Burt Reynolds ended up voicing Charlie B. Barkin for MGM's All Dogs Go to Heaven.
Yep.
Which also stars Dom DeLuise.
Yep. He's itchy.
It says here Dodger's appearance was based on Billy Joel's. I didn't see that. I guess just the sunglasses. I guess Billy Joel was wearing sunglasses at that time. I don't know.
All the dogs swooned after Dodger's character, except that one dog. She kind of went and like walked away. She wasn't going to fall for his shenanigans and stuff.
Shenanigans. Ooh, I love that word.
Rick Moranis was considered for the role of Fagin.
You like allude also. Rick Moranis. Oh, I could see that actually.
Yeah,
Who was
I could too.
Fagin was the guy that was trying to get the money, so
the homeless guy
try to pummel him
with the heart of gold, because he ended up giving Oliver to Jenny without the ransom money.
And that's when the villain, whatever his name is, went after Jenny and pulled her in the car.
It says Eddie Murphy was considered for the role of Francis, the bulldog. Tom Cruise was considered for the role of Dodger.
What?
I mean, you can say this. You can say whatever you want. Just whoever the movie makers were thinking of. Well, I'd consider Tom Cruise, or the biggest movie star in the world. You can consider him. Like right here, Robert De Niro was considered for the role of Dodger.
No.
Sylvester Stallone was considered for the role of Einstein. Oh, this is interesting. Linda Carter was considered for the role of Georgette, the fancy poodle.
I liked Cheech. I think Cheech Marin was perfect for the part of the Chihuahua, and just some of the things that he said to Bette Midler's character. And then the ending, I was like, oh my gosh, that's kind of risque. I looked at you, and because she was like, something like follow me upstairs or whatever for just a moment. And I just thought, my mind was wandering. I was like, oh my gosh, this is a kid's movie. And then he goes up, and then he's like flying out the window in some getup and stuff. She was trying to
In a sailor.
She was trying
outfit,
to get him
right.
dressed up, and so I'm like, what kind of thing is she trying to do to him?
James Coburn was considered for the role of Sykes, the villain. He's got a good voice. Robert Hayes was considered for the role of Einstein. Robert Hayes from the movie Airplane. Scott Bakula was considered for Fagin.
I don't remember the girl.
This is interesting. John Cleese was considered for the role of Tito, the role that Cheech Marin plays. So that would have been a totally different character.
Rita was one of the Pointer sisters. I think it was Ruth Pointer.
Oh, Rita's the female dog in the gang. Okay.
Yeah.
Mickey Rourke was considered for Einstein, another one of the dogs.
He did a lot of cartoons too.
Welcome, Monarch Moments.
Oh, welcome in, Monarch Moments. Thanks for being here. We're winding up actually our discussion on Oliver and Company. I just forgot the name of the movie.
And I watched it yesterday.
This is one of the things my sister sent me in the 90s.
Oh wow!
Disney was sending out exclusive commemorative lithographs with the purchase of these home videos. Oliver and Company was released in 1996, and this is the lithograph she no longer wanted, so she sent it to me. But this is the crew, the dog crew. Georgette on the left, Dodger there with the red scarf with Oliver on his head, Tito at his feet. The bulldog is Francis. Einstein is the Great Dane, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And then
That's what it is.
Rita,
It was a
right?
Mastiff.
Rita is the other lady dog. That's correct.
I
Yeah.
thought the gray one was a Mastiff, but yeah, it's a Great Dane.
Oh, maybe it is. I'm
No.
not a dog person myself.
It's a Great Dane. Yeah.
It is a Great Dane. Okay.
What would you give this movie?
I'll tell you this. I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. I liked all of the Easter eggs and hidden the cameos that we saw in it. If I gave The Great Mouse Detective a 7, I think I would also give this a 7. I like them about equally. What say you?
That's not what I thought you were gonna say.
I like to keep you guessing.
This isn't one of my favorite Disney movies. I did enjoy it more, but I have a different outlook of it, especially since I was looking at the Wikipedia and the history of it. But I don't think I was fond of the music, and I didn't like really the animation of it. I would give it a 6, but I did enjoy it more than I did previously. The first time I saw it, I was like, no.
The "Why Should I Worry" song, I
got it in my head right now.
I remember that from the commercial. I mean, it was a good song, but I would probably say a 7, and I would say I didn't like it as much as The Great Mouse Detective, which I wanted to. I didn't dislike it, but maybe I have to watch it again. It was only my first time seeing it. I just thought it was kind of slow at times, and it didn't pick up until the middle. And I just thought, what is the point? What are they trying to do? Until you find out they were helping what's his name get the money and stuff, and then it kind of picked up from there. So, but yeah, it was always one of those movies I haven't seen, so I can mark that off my list.
As can I.
Some interesting things on this. This movie was released the same day as Land Before Time, November 18th, 1988.
And I'm sure Land Before Time did way better.
Opening weekend, Land Before Time, I think it finished #1, but I know Oliver and Company finished 4th. But through the run of this entire thing, Oliver and Company has made more money than Land Before Time.
Huh.
So this was, I think, at the time Disney's #1 movie, but I'm sure they're talking about because
Don Bluth usually did a way better.
Also cost of them, what they spent back in 1944. Movies cost more when you buy movies.
1944.
If you talk about, you know how they always say 1944, if you spend $1, it's going to equate to like $10 now.
Yeah, inflation rate.
Yes, inflation rate. So, but this movie earned at the time, I believe I read it. It said this was the #1 grossing movie for Disney at the time, which kind of surprised me.
That's saying something for the 80s.
Yeah, originally, let's see. Following the release of The Black Cauldron, Michael Eisner and Jeffrey Katzenberg held a pitch meeting with the animation staff in which the story of Pete Young decided to do Oliver Twist with Dogs. The pitch was quickly approved, and the film quickly went into production under the working title Oliver and Dodger. It was released the same day as Land Before Time. It was considered a box office success, received mixed reviews, and they were talking about it was supposed to be a grittier movie. And at the beginning of it, I don't see it on here, but at the beginning of it, where remember the dogs was chasing Oliver at the beginning of it, the alley dogs.
Yes,
they were going to have the alley dogs kill the parents of the cats, Oliver's parents. That was going to be one of the opening scenes. So
good grief.
It was supposed to be more of a grittier movie, and they decided to take that out.
Well, yeah.
Have the cat in a box being abandoned.
That sounds like Batman.
Batman.
Jane Seymour was considered for the role of Rita. Jerry Orbach considered for Tito. Gregory Hines considered for the role of Francis. And there was one more. Oh, Samuel E. Wright was considered for the role of Francis, later voiced Sebastian the Crab, of course, in The Little Mermaid, and Kron the Iguanodon in Dinosaur. There was one more. Where is it? It was... Whitney Houston was considered for Rita. So they just threw out every name. Oh, here's the one. Marlon Brando was offered the role of Sykes, the bad guy. By the head of Disney, Michael Eisner,
but they couldn't understand him. So they,
oh my God!
Brando, however, turned it down, fearing the movie would bomb.
You couldn't understand when he talked. He wasn't always like that.
Welcome, Wanda. She did a virtual, I think they call that 5K run today. So good job, Wanda.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, welcome in. Thank you for being here.
She ran virtually.
Yes.
That just sounds confusing.
Okay, so thank you guys for joining me.
Thank you
for these two movies. And again, I don't know. Do we want to pick two more movies for a future show? What do you think?
I was thinking Muppet Treasure Island and Treasure Planet. I've never seen Treasure Planet, and that's a treasure theme, basically.
Yes.
I don't think you are interested in High School Musical, and you said Old Yeller is probably too sad for you.
I am, of the two remaining, Muppet Treasure Island and Treasure Planet would be the ones I'm most interested in. Yes, of course. And to watch them together, because I assume, well, Muppet Treasure Island is Treasure Island, and I'm assuming Treasure Planet is also that story.
I have no idea what it's about. I've never seen it.
Never seen it either. So, yeah, that sounds great. We'll pick a date to be determined. But yes, awesome. So Muppet Treasure Island and Treasure Planet next. Any last words about either one of these movies, or you just want to say goodbye?
I enjoy all Disney classics, so I just like some more than others. You don't enjoy them?
No, there's a time period that Disney, when they were coming out with movies, I wasn't really high on them, and that was in the 70s. But I thought this was interesting because, like with the other one, you could see the direction that Disney movies were going with.
These were in the 80s.
Yes, with the Katzenberg, and well, you said you like the classic movies, and there's a period in the 70s I didn't like. But you could see with the direction Eisner, Katzenberg were going with and what they were building. This movie, after this, everything started when Disney was releasing movies every single year. So there was a new commitment, and it was something Katzenberg wanted to do because it's what Walt Disney did in the 40s. That was what their goal was. So it's interesting to look back and see how their Renaissance period all began. And this was started, I think, with the other one with their singing and all that, and you could definitely see the trend and their formula that they were starting to develop it with this movie too. So looking at from that aspect, I think it's very interesting to see it. And because the next movie was, if I remember right, was Little Mermaid, right?
I think you're right. Yeah, these movies are the bridge, from movies like The Fox and the Hound to The Little Mermaid. This is the a bit more of a focus on music. I mean, these weren't fully musicals. There were 2 or 3 songs in them, but yes, this was. You can see, looking back, you can see where they were going with it. So I like them both. I like both of these movies. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. Thanks for taking my idea and running with it.
Absolutely. Thanks for the idea. What else can we thank each other for?
For wearing a shirt.
Thank
you for wearing my shirt.
Yes, there you go.
Thank you for noticing I'm wearing your shirt.
Just thank you for being you.
Yes.
Thank you for all the gratitude. I don't know. All right, let's call it ending broadcast. Everybody, I'll see you next on my Tuesday night live stream, 7 p.m.
Your hour show. I'm glad you're doing an hour now. You should have been doing it a long time ago.
I suppose so. All right, you're right. Thank you for saying that.
You're welcome.
All right, everybody. Have a great day. Enjoy your weekend. Bye, everybody.
Bye.